Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Guys on Sports. Week 12 is in the books. Week 13 is right ahead of us, and we are ready to get rolling. Hopefully, you guys are headed towards the playoffs or in your dynasties, at the very least, enjoying your tank job and looking forward to the draft next year. Rocky, how has your week been in the fantasy world?
It's been great, man. I was 3-1 in my 4 leagues, making some ground toward the playoffs. The best team in another league, and fighting for respectability in my third.
Yeah, I went 0-3. Things have been bad in one league. They've been good in the other, but I did drop a game this week, which puts me in a little bit of trouble. I still control my destiny.
Who'd you lose to?
Did I lose to you in your league?
You did.
Okay.
You did.
Yeah, well, there you go.
I gave you
in your league, here's why I'm not that mad, is because I have nobody to blame but myself. I'm making the wrong starts at the wrong time. I'm a week behind it, and it just is not working out. There's been a bunch of times, a bunch of losses I had that I could have won had I started the right, collaborations of a lineup. So it's, and this goes into, I was talking about this with somebody else a few days ago, just about, you good there? Just about strategy with your roster. Sometimes guys opt to go top heavy, and it's a lot easier to set a lineup, a lot less second guessing. I like to build my teams deeper, so not as high, like not as much high-end talent, more of that in the middle range, like between really good and great. But then you have a lot of decisions week to week, and you can hurt yourself that way.
Yeah, you can second guess. I in my league of record, I find myself in a great situation. I thought I couldn't win, so I started jettisoning players that I was not going to re-sign.
Yeah.
And accumulated a bunch of first-round picks for next year, and then realized I'm in it, so was able to turn one of those first-round picks into a running back that I will franchise next year.
Yeah.
And I'm making a little bit of a run here. And I think, head-to-head, I beat the Zeppelin and Justin Langdrum. I think I beat them both.
I don't know. Who's the Zeppelin?
Zeppelins are big.
I think Josh could beat all three too, though.
Yeah, no, but I don't mind. I'll be honest, I don't mind losing to.
That makes sense. You know what I do mind is that the trade I made with you for my first round pick, Jonathan Taylor has been hot dog garbage.
Yeah.
Since then,
and I had franchised them, so I knew I couldn't do anything with them. And I'm hoping you sucked, so I can get a higher first round pick.
He's been really bad, though.
Yes. Well, in Indianapolis, been really bad.
That's true.
And so,
all right. Well, with that said, we will next week have a new partner for this segment that was formerly CHALKBOARD, although we do still have our community there. But we will be diverting our attention to a new partner, so stay tuned for that. But right now, we're going to move into Wiretap. Week 13 Wiretap, we are going to highlight a player that we think is the best waiver ad of the week, and then we need to highlight a player that we think is the worst waiver ad of the week. Now, Rocky, I don't know if you have yours ready.
Yeah.
Do you want to go with your most valuable waiver ad of the week first?
I am. I'm going to, this has been a really interesting year at this position. And so I'm going to go into the tight end room, and I'm going to pick up Luke Schoonemaker from the Dallas Cowboys. Okay. Jake Ferguson has been really startable all year with the Cowboys, but he is injured and looks like he's not going to play. And so if you're looking for a 1-week stream or maybe 2-week stream, depending on how long he's injured, I think Schoonemaker is somebody who could finish in the top 5 tight ends.
And I think what's, this time of year, I still think it's important to keep your eye on the waiver wire. We've seen so many times, you've played fantasy long enough that there's somebody in the league that you were with that picked up a guy and he crushed you week 1 of the playoffs with said guy out of nowhere. So I think it's important to keep an eye there.
And in particular this year, and that's why I mentioned the tight end room, I won a game because I picked up Taysom Hill, and he scored 40-something points and has been consistent. I won another game by picking up Will Disley, who has been pretty good.
I highlighted last week on this very segment.
And I won a couple games picking up Jonnu Smith. And so
Jonnu Smith's been good.
I think you've got, like you said, you've got to every single week, even though I know there's probably not somebody I'm picking up because my team's pretty deep.
Yeah,
I'm looking every week.
Good franchises, good GMs are always looking for ways to upgrade the roster. There's definitely a spot on your bench most of the time that you could take a swing at somebody on the waiver wire. So I like that pick. I'm going to go with a guy who's in line for a lot of work. Gus Edwards, who's been mixed in quite a bit with the Chargers and that Harbaugh offense, is going to have an opportunity pending. J.K. Dobbins left the game Monday night with a knee injury. I've yet to see reports on it. I don't know whether that bodes well or not, but we do know J.K. Dobbins' injury history. Unfortunately, it's an extensive one, and I don't know that we could count on him being back soon. I won't go too much further into prognosticating on his injury, but I will say that Gus Edwards lines up pretty nicely. Different style running back, but this offense, there's a lot of opportunity to score. They love to run the ball, obviously, and they're going to continue to do that. So I think Gus Edwards is in line, if you could grab him on the waiver wire, to be a starting running back for the San Diego Chargers going forward, and we'll see how long it lasts, but go get him. He might help you win a week to get into the playoffs, or if this injury extends, then maybe even into a playoff game.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the injury update, and they're actually worried because Jim Harbaugh has been asked directly, and he keeps saying, I will provide no update on JK's injury, which is probably a sign that it might be more serious than we think.
A sign that they're going to get an MRI or something like that. And, I have nothing on it here. Haven't found anything. So, Gus Edwards, RB1 for the Chargers.
All right.
Go get him.
I've got my maybe intoxicating, maybe sexy-looking player that I would say stay away from is the Carolina Panthers in general. They're playing good, honestly, and they're looking like they're kind of finding their identity with Bryce Young back out there. They're moving the ball pretty well on the ground, and so there's a lot of people that are looking and want to kick the tires on Jonathan Brooks, but he is a waiver wire that I would not pick up. I think he is still lingering with that injury. And I think Chuba has looked the part. And so I don't know if you're the Panthers, you're probably not mixing with that mojo that's working. So I would say I would avoid Jonathan Brooks. Let somebody else take that chance.
All right. So the guy I'm going to highlight is, and this is based purely off of the trend the last 3 games he's played, that I've been hearing his name batted around a bit on some of the other fantasy talking heads that we see out and about on socials. But Trey Tucker for the Raiders has seen an uptick in targets the last 3 weeks. And he has a couple blips on the radar throughout the season, but largely inconsistent. And that's my reasoning here. I do think that the Raiders are going to continuously play from behind and have to throw the ball a bunch. Jacoby Myers is quietly having a great season over there in that black hole. I do think there's a chance they go get a Daniel Jones. I don't know if Jones wants to go there or back up on a team that's going to the playoffs with a chance to play, but I do think that would be an upgrade for what they have right now, and I think that it makes it more appetizing to add him to your roster, but I think all in all, he's just not a special receiver. I think he's one of those guys you wind up putting on your bench, and
you're afraid
just
to start
never
him.
have the guts to put him in your lineup.
But he's kind of gimmicky. He's quick, but that's not rare in the NFL.
No, and I think there's other guys that Turpin is a guy that I think is probably available in a lot of leagues, depending on the size of your league. There's somebody I'm forgetting, but the kid from Pittsburgh. What's his?
Jaylen Warren.
No.
The wide receiver.
Yeah.
I mean, they signed Mike Williams, but I don't.
Not Mike Williams. No, I'm misremembering. All right, never mind.
Romeo, the rookie Romeo.
No. Wow. It's a guy like Turpin. I just can't remember who it is. Anyway, all right, so I sound dumb. We're going to move on to Fantasy Prime Time. Okay, Rocky, Fantasy Prime Time, Week 13. What we're going to do is focus on our Thanksgiving games. Hey, happy Thanksgiving. We forgot to mention that.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
How could we do that? I'm so mixed up in work and fantasy that I'm forgetting about Turkey Day. But we're going to highlight these games, and week to week, we highlight 3 matchups. We draft the players from that team, from that game, and then we see who wins the game. Usually we do 2 picks apiece. We'll do 3 rounds because there's only 2 of us. We'll try to be quick. Short description why we picked the guy or why we didn't pick somebody else, and we'll keep it moving. So we have Chicago at Detroit. We have the Giants at Dallas. We have the Dolphins at Green Bay and the Raiders at Kansas City. That is going to be the Friday game on Amazon Prime, so make sure you don't forget that's on. All right, so let's start with the Bears at Detroit.
And remember, we don't pick quarterbacks.
Don't pick quarterbacks.
We're just picking skill outside the QB.
We don't pick quarterbacks.
Yeah.
All right. So, Bears at Detroit. Rocky, do you want to go first here or the Giants game?
Yeah, I'll go first here.
Okay, who you got?
This one to me is pretty simple.
Pretty simple, huh?
It's Amon. I love his consistency. I love the receiver he is. It seems like he's a guy that can be held quiet for a quarter, and then he just you look up and he's got 100 yards and a touchdown.
Okay. That's an easy pick, I feel like, but I think I'm going to go with his running mate there, and I'm going to go with Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, I love another player on their offense. I'm sure we'll get to him at some point, but Jahmyr Gibbs just, despite what I thought in the offseason, looks like a better back this year.
Yep. Yeah, and that's even with splitting time with Montgomery.
Yep.
All right, this makes my third choice really easy because this was actually going to be my second choice.
Yep.
And I'm going to pick the wide receiver counterpart in Chicago. I like DJ. I think Caleb, and he's taken a lot of heat, but what I see is a quarterback that is developing, that is going to be a good quarterback. I love that pass he threw to DJ for a touchdown was absolute magic.
Yeah.
I don't think many quarterbacks could make that while they're running to the right. And I think DJ's another guy that you might get lucky and he might have a 2-touchdown game. So, DJ Moore.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Caleb hate is out of hand. I think it's just a product of the media and social media.
Yeah. He's thrown for more touchdowns than Jaden Daniels in the last 4 games. But everybody's talking about Jaden, who's kind of come back to the field some.
Well, who's a guy that we need to talk more about is a guy that me and you loved in the offseason is Bo Nix.
Yeah, he's probably Rookie of the Year right now.
He is Rookie of the Year right now.
Yeah.
Most yards, most touchdowns.
Neighbors and Harrison haven't distinguished themselves.
No, they haven't. I think that he has it as long as he keeps on the same path. He's
the best QB, and they got an easy game this week.
Yeah. All right. So who did they got this
Browns.
week? All right. So DJ Moore's off the board. Gibbs is gone. Amon-Ra's gone. Where do we dip our toe in? I don't want to have all my horses in that Detroit stable. Okay, so
I think there's a clear choice in Chicago.
Give me DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, this is the right choice.
I mean, he's been up and down. I have him on one of my teams, but give me DeAndre Swift. A game that I do think they're going to have to score some points.
Yeah, he has been more up than down, though.
He has more than I just think the lows are low.
Well, I think he's dealing with a little bit of an injury. I think he's got a little bit of a hamstring injury. So,
okay, so that's who do you think wins this game?
to me, like, it's easy to say Detroit.
Yes, it is.
Honestly, both Detroit and Chicago play on Thanksgiving a lot.
Yeah.
So normally, but I just have a feeling.
It feels like a trap game for
This
Detroit,
is
right?
a trap game. Caleb, Chicago looked great last week, because they lost. But
Yeah.
even in the loss, they looked pretty damn good.
To be fair to Chicago and Chicago fans, although I hate to, yeah, I mean, a missed field goal, a last-minute fluky Hail Mary.
Yeah.
They're
they've
2
lost
games
some
better.
games.
They're 2 games better. I mean, they got absolutely steamrolled in Arizona, fired their offensive coordinator. The offenses look better since then. I think they're a better team than the record shows. And usually, the old Bill Parcells saying, you are what your record says you are. I stick to that. But I think in their case, with the blocked field goal, with the fluky Hail Mary, I don't think you can pin those losses on them as much.
Listen,
and I think they're a better team than their record shows, for sure.
At one point, they were 4-2. I mean, there was a point in the season we were talking, can they win this division?
Yeah.
I don't think Chicago's as far away as we think. Their defense is kind of more or less coming back, although...
Yeah, they're banged up a little bit.
Yeah, and Minnesota is a good team.
Yeah, they are.
All
right, so moving on, we have, eat your turkey, fall asleep for this game, then wake up and watch the next one.
Is there a question who wins this game?
I have no idea who's going to win this game.
See, I think you got to give it to Dallas.
I think coming off that, it's going to be that. And I'm worried. I'm worried for Brian Dable. I'm worried for Joe Shane because John Maurer, there's one thing he's a prideful owner. And after that shellacking at home last week, with the whole nation watching, if you go out there and lay an egg against a bitter rival in front of the nation, I think heads are going to roll. But let's pick the game.
Yeah.
Who do you... Oh, it's my pick first, right?
Yep, your pick.
All right, so I'm just going to... Listen, it's super easy.
Yeah.
We have a problem with him most of the time. The Giants have a CB1 that looks more like a CB2. They have a team that is furious at the coaching staff. CeeDee Lamb should go off in this game.
This is the pure,
pretty
easily.
So
easy choice.
CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, it would have been my first. Coming back then to me at 1-2. Maybe I'm going to be a little bit surprising here, but I'm going to go Tracy. I do not like the Dallas Cowboy running backs.
Yeah.
I don't love their second receiver and Neighbors. I don't like them if DeVito is quarterback. DeVito looked flustered, just couldn't find anything. And so I think Tracy's a logical choice. They're probably going to have to lean on the run. Dallas has allowed teams to run.
That's fair, yeah. I don't hate that. On the other hand, I am going to go Neighbors. And here's why. I'll make this short and sweet. DeVito is a bad quarterback. He always was. And there's a reason he's starting. That aside, Malik Neighbors made comments to the media this week. There's rustlings in that locker room, and they're going to force feed him the ball. Brian Dable's going to because he knows he can't have him lighting the locker room on fire like he did last week. So I expect Neighbors to get targeted early, often, and throughout, so he will have ample opportunity. And I think he's good enough, even with defense keen on him, that he'll get his targets. He'll make a little bit out of him. It won't be a crazy day, but I like him here in the second round.
All right. Yeah, that's fair. I actually had him at number 4, so I'll get lucky and actually get my third choice here. I talked about him already in the waiver wire pickup. Luke Schoonemaker. Dallas has got trouble running the ball. I don't like Rico or Zeke, and so I think that they're using Jake when he was healthy and Luke now almost as that running back to move the ball. And so I think he's going to have a good game. I think he'll get targeted 6 to 8 times. I think he'll have 50 yards, and I think he'll have a touchdown.
Yeah, you're making my last pick here difficult because I was hoping to steal that from you. Okay, so yeah, I don't love a lot of the choices left.
Wait, didn't you already go twice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went 3, remember?
No, we didn't go 3 the first time.
Yes, we did.
No, first time we went Amon, DJ, Gibbs, and Swift. We just did 2 choices.
We were supposed to do 3.
Yeah, well, we just did 2.
Well, we did 2.
Yeah.
All right, so there we go.
Let's keep 2.
Let's keep 2.
Who would you have gone here?
I probably would have went Dowdle. Went Dowdle.
Yeah, I think that would have been mine. Yeah.
All right, so next we got
who wins? So you're unsure. You think it'll be Dallas, but
I think that it will be Dallas.
Yeah. Logic says Dallas. But logic said Steelers beat the Browns. Rivalry games like this, yeah.
I mean, sure. You're going to see if those players want to save Brian Dable's jobs.
100%. And that's what, I walked into the Browns game thinking both Stefanski and Barry had to be fired, and walked out of the game saying these players are still playing for these guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be that lucky. But, okay, now we go on to the resurgent Miami Dolphins.
Yep, look good.
Versus the Green Bay Packers at 8-3, who I think people have forgotten about quite a bit. So your pick first. There's a lot to choose from here. Where are you going?
So I'm going to go with consistency over flash. I'm going to go with Josh Jacobs. The guy has been.
I like that.
The guy's been everything that Green Bay thought they were getting.
Yes.
Been a great receiver out of the backfield and a better runner than we thought. I like a guy that gets the ball 20 times. And so that's why I'm going Josh Jacobs.
Okay, I like the Josh Jacobs pick. I wonder, what is the weather for this game? That would affect what I think a little bit. Yeah, Miami. Okay, so my pick, I'm swinging for the fences with my pick. I'm sticking with Tyreek Hill here. I think that, number 1, Green Bay could score. Number 2, I think Miami's head coach is a guy that thinks or likes to think, and I like him, this is not a slight, that he's smarter than everybody else. He has the national stage.
Yeah.
I think he's going to want to try to put on a show. I think I like my odds with Tyreek Hill, especially coming off a great Waddle performance. Be a little bit more attention diverted to him from Green Bay than maybe a week beforehand.
Yeah.
So I see maybe some more opportunity for Hill.
This is easy. I thought a lot about Tyreek Hill instead of Josh Jacobs. But, yeah, it's easy choice
He's
there.
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go with my second choice, and this will be a little bit of a surprise.
No.
But as I've said, I'm really into the tight ends this year.
You love those tight ends.
This tight end has had 17, 24, 12, 16, 10. He's already had 5 games at double-digit points, which at the tight end position, you really differentiate yourself. And so I'm going Tucker Kraft here. I like him. I think he's a stud, and I think Miami has been very susceptible to tight end play.
They have, and he's probably the most consistent pass catcher on that team this year. So that's fair.
I mean, Watson missed that wide open pass, and that's Watson, and that is Watson in a nutshell.
In a nutshell. And for that very reason, and the same reason I mentioned about Miami having the center stage, Green Bay has center stage, and I think Jaden Reed's the guy when you want to get creative and you really want to work a game plan around a certain player. Now, does Dobbs get his touches? Watson get his touch? All these guys are worked into the game plan. I think Jaden Reed specifically, though, is a guy that we see when he has a big game, it's more than just things happening. I feel like they're making things happen for Jaden Reed. They're specifically targeting him, whereas the other guys, I think they're good receivers. They get targets. I just don't think it applies to Reed. I think they'll target him heavily. I think they will work him into the game plan. They will have specific plays for him. I like Jaden Reed to at least score once and get like 8, 9 times. I think it's a big Jaden Reed game.
Did you at all consider A-Chain?
I thought about A-Chain, but he's been a little inconsistent. And here's what I worry about. This is why I asked about the weather. Miami, I don't know. I feel like the personality of their coach is, if it's a cold weather game, he's going to lean into the pass rather than the run. I think that's the way they think, the way he operates. I think he's going to go counter to whatever you think he should do. And I think if it's like a tundra game where it's, we're in the 30s or something, the 20s, that I think they throw the ball a bunch more. And A-Chain hasn't looked like the A-Chain from last year all year. We've seen flashes, so.
I'm looking at the weather. It's an 8:20 game, which, man, I tell you what, I was just in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And you forget how frigid it is with the wind.
Yeah.
They're calling for temperature to be in the 20s. And, man, you get a little bit of rain and you're talking snow.
Yeah, I just don't know if A-Chain's that kind of back.
Yeah. No, I think he's a little light.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so is that 2 already? Wow, that was quick. All right, so moving on to the Amazon Prime game. Don't forget, you got your Friday off from work. Some of us don't. You got a football game, and it's one of those games that you can forget about. And my, what a matchup. The Las Vegas Raiders at the Chiefs. And joking aside, I think that this could be a game. Kansas City has not distinguished themselves. Maybe this is a return to form, but on a short week after going on the road, almost losing to the Carolina Panthers.
And they're getting lucky. I tell you, KC has kept every team in the game.
Yes. I think it's more like, I think some people like to point it out as a thing where good teams find ways to win games. I look at it more like they're going to get got. They can't keep doing this. Because it's not just... blocking a field goal, that's great. You got good special teams. You can't count on that to win games. I mean, the Panthers shouldn't be playing the same building with the Chiefs.
No, not at all.
So it doesn't make sense.
And the Raiders are probably a little bit step up than Carolina, you would think. Maybe not a huge, but
no,
you would think they'd be a little bit better than.
I think the short week favors the Raiders in this case. So. Interesting game. So you have the first pick.
No, I think you do.
I thought, you took the first pick in Green Bay. So I have the first pick here. That is interesting. All right. So first pick here, no quarterbacks. I got to go Travis Kelce.
Yeah, I think that's a smart choice. I think that they are working him more into the game. And
he looks like himself again.
Yeah, he's the reliable one.
Yeah.
I like this pick, and that does lead me to get the guy that I thought I was going to get, and that's Jacoby. We talked about him already. This guy's been consistent. Like, people talk down about this guy.
I don't know why.
But, I mean, he's at 21, 13, 17, 19, 23 points. His lowest game was 8. You're not going to be too unhappy with that.
No, and I'll tell you what, I'm guilty of it too. I have him on the roster, and I barely start him. And I'm starting guys over him that are just... I've started Tyreek Hill over him almost all year when he's healthy. And I probably am in a better place starting Jacoby Myers this year just because of the way
the last
went.
time he played Kansas City, he had 17 fantasy points. It was his third highest total over the season. I like him, man. He everywhere he goes, he's kind of been underestimated, but he's a solid receiver.
And we talked about him, and I want to highlight another guy from that division because you just brought it to my attention. But Cortland Sutton, another guy we talked about in the offseason.
He's a man.
That Bo Nix has found. They took the governor off with Bo Nix.
Man, yeah.
And he just looks like a stud.
It's one of my proudest moments is I drafted Bo Nix when everybody told me I was crazy in the 4th pick of the first round, and then I traded for Cortland Sutton and signed him to a 4-year deal low because I think these two are going to achieve together for a while.
I think Sutton's been criminally underrated, like Myers, his entire career, outside of maybe 1 year where people paid attention.
This is who he is to me. He's prime time Amari Cooper, amazing route runner. He's a little bit taller, he can high point the ball. Good red zone threat.
Well, he's their number one red zone threat.
That's right. And he's fast, but he's not like blazing. But he is fast. He runs great routes.
He reminds me of Plaxico Burress as a Giants fan.
Before he shot himself?
It's not funny, man.
It's kind of funny.
Not funny. He tanked our season, man.
It's kind of funny.
He's a Super Bowl champion. I'll tell you, that's what he is. All right?
Yeah. Anyways.
Put the safety on.
Jacoby,
put the safety on.
Yeah, and don't wear jogging pants to a club. I mean, it's part of that, too.
That's part of it.
Yeah, tighter jeans, it probably wouldn't have,
Wouldn't have fell. Yeah. It's a sad thing.
So, all right. Jacoby
Myers. All right, so there's a lot of places I could go here. Man, I'm thinking about that Las Vegas Raiders defense. I'm thinking about the secondary. And do I want to go another pass catcher? Yeah. Give me Kareem Hunt.
Okay, I like that pick.
I'm gonna
And
go Kareem Hunt.
I actually didn't have him on my list, but now that I'm remembering that he's on there, he's looked good, and he's been a
He has.
double-digit machine.
As long as Pacheco's not coming back this week, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he is. So that gives me, I've got 3 names that I could go with, and I have one that is actually was my 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were going to take him.
No.
And I'm going to go with DeAndre Hopkins here.
I've been uninspired. It's been up and down.
I don't think he's the receiver he was in the past, but he is getting the targets, and I just feel like eventually he is going to break one off.
This might be it. I mean, you're not wrong.
You give any thought to Xavier Worthy or Brock Bowers?
Wow, I forgot about Brock Bowers.
So Brock Bowers was my number 3 pick.
Wow,
so
Brock
that's what
Bowers. I wish I could switch him out right now.
Yeah. I was
Totally
going
forgot.
between Bowers and Hopkins, but Hopkins is just getting 8 to 10 targets a game.
Yeah, but Brock Bowers is just an animal. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I should have picked Brock Bowers instead of Green.
And then I would have picked Hunt instead of Worthy. So,
okay.
Who do we think? We didn't mention it. Who do you think wins the Miami Green Bay, and who do you think wins Las Vegas Kansas City?
Yeah, I think Green Bay.
I agree
I
with
think
you.
Green Bay wins, even though I'm pulling for Miami.
It's just history. They win a lot on Thanksgiving.
They're home on a short week.
I don't think Miami is a cold weather team.
They got to be if they want to make noise.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't see it. Not on a short week.
Miami is different with Tua.
They are a good team.
Yeah, until Tua is forced to retire because of concussions,
He's not
which is
going to be. I hope not.
coming. No, I hate to say it, but it's going to come.
I hope not.
But they are different. They are different with Tua.
Yes, and I think Kansas City wins. I can't pick against them at home.
Yeah.
Even though I like the Raiders to make it close.
Yeah. We did get news that Daniel Jones will be making his decision tomorrow.
They just announced that.
Yeah, they just did. He just said he's making his decision, and I wonder. You think it's Las Vegas?
I don't know, man. I think that you have to give thought to Miami.
Got to give thoughts to Buffalo.
I don't like Buffalo for him. If I'm him, he wants to start. He wants to prove he could play.
I honestly
He wants to
was
stick it
kind
in
of
the
hoping
Giants'
that the
face.
Browns would kick the tires.
Yeah, he wants to play though.
Yeah, but I think honestly they might. Jameis. Listen, I love Jameis.
I think
the guy's a soundbite machine, but he's Jameis.
I think if I'm Daniel Jones and I want to play, I think the place I go is either Miami or Minnesota.
Yeah.
I think Minnesota, things are uncertain with Sam Darnold's been good.
But I think Sam Darnold's going to go somewhere else because.
But Sam Darnold could get hurt this year. If that offense looks a little off, I don't think he's solidified in that spot. If you bring Daniel Jones into town, that's what I think. I think there's a few spots he could go. I think Tua with the injury thing, at any play like you just alluded to, he could be out, and you got a guy I think that could find ways to use Daniel Jones.
When
tough.
Daniel Jones came into the league, I liked him. I thought. And it wasn't just me that liked him. Peyton and Eli spoke highly of him.
Yeah, all those guys.
I didn't like the fact that he fumbled too much, but otherwise I thought he was pretty solid. I think he is a candidate. I think he could be another Sam Darnold or Baker
player.
Mayfield. Yeah,
I think it's possible. But yeah, the Kansas City at home, I think they're an easy pick for me.
All right.
All right. All right, and now it's time for Single Digit Saloon. All right, guys, Single Digit Saloon, week 13. We're going to pick a guy that you think is going to score a whole bunch of points, and we're going to say, nah, not scoring that many points. I've been on kind of a roll. Mark hasn't. But I think I hit 3 of 4 in the last 4 weeks. Most notably, Jaden Daniels against Pittsburgh when he was still hot. But yeah, who you got this week, Rocky? Who's in the Single Digit Saloon?
So I've got a receiver that you wouldn't necessarily think of as a high performer, but who's been a high performer. We have got a 4-game sample now with Jameis Winston, and Jameis Winston has 9 touchdowns, whereas Deshaun Watson only had 7 the entire rest of the season. So Jameis is working. The Browns are clicking some, and this receiver has been the number 12 wide receiver in that 4-week span, and that is Jerry Jeudy. 25 receptions on 36 targets, almost 400 yards and 2 touchdowns. He has had double digits every single week the last 4 weeks. This is the week it ends. Cedric Tillman is suffering from a concussion and may or may not be able to play, which will take some probably the best cornerback back on Jeudy. I think Denver's defense is the real deal. They have played really well, and so I think they're going to limit Jerry Jeudy to a single digit. I think get ready for a 9-point game.
9 points. Okay, that's fair. I'm going to talk about a guy. I guess if you're not paying attention, you don't know who this guy is, but Bucky Irvin for the Bucs has been, I think, their best running back. Kudos to you who called that. Coming off 2 of his best performances of the year, 16 fantasy points and 24 fantasy points respectively. And he's been efficient with it too. It's been under 20 touches each time, but he's just looked good. What were you going to say? I'm sorry.
And he's also proven to be a decent receiver out of the backfield, which has really cut into Rachaad White. That was why he was a top fantasy back last year.
It was, and he's a better runner than him. He's bigger. 5 touchdowns on the year. He just looks good. They're at Carolina in division, but I tell you what, Carolina has looked better.
They have, yeah.
And their defense.
I think this is a trap game for the Bucs.
It is a bit of a trap game, and their defenses look better. They're feeling good about themselves. They held Kareem Hunt in check last week. I just feel like he's going to take a little bit of a step back this week. I don't know that it carries on for much more than that, but I just feel like this is the week that you maybe want to throttle back on Bucky Irvin and let him hang out in the single-digit saloon.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that even last week had a great game, but they're trying to work Rachaad White in. He just hasn't been as efficient. He's a decent player. At some point, he's going to kind of find his groove, and I think this could be a interesting week.
For sure. All right, guys, that is the show. If you like what you heard, please like and subscribe to the video. Go to the page, comment on any of the videos, ask us questions. You can find us on all socials at GON Podcast. Our TikTok, more specifically, is where we're posting clips. We're going live before games on Sunday for kickoff. We're giving you the how-to, the know-how to try to help you win your league. And the link to our Patreon, which helps us keep this thing going, is also in the bio. So please get there. We really need to boost up the Patreon and get some people in there. We have a lot to offer there. Advice basically 24/7, probably more like 20/27, something like that. But find us there and support any way you can. We want to keep giving you this content. We love you. Much love. Peace.